Tortuga Rum Company now. Now everywhere does accept US on the island. You might get CI and change, or we accept all cards except for American Express, I believe. Any questions so far, guys? All good? Alright, so inside of Tortuga Rum Company, you can find the famous Tortuga rum and rum cakes. But also, if you guys are hungry for a bite, here is the home of the Jamaican beef patty. Now, if you don't know what a beef patty is, it is basically a beef or a chicken pie. It has a little bit of a spice in it, but it's very good. And also, they sell breakfast sandwiches here. It's a cocoa bread, one of the softest breads that you'll ever taste in your life, and it has ham, egg, and cheese inside. So if you guys get a little hungry, you can grab something here to bite. Thank you. As you see, everyone stops here before they head to work. They get a shot, they grab a patty, and they head straight to work. It's called a Cayman breakfast. So you guys got the special.
And then a lot of locals come here.
Yeah. Everyone stops there before work.
I'm good right now.
Saw one guy with 3 boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are frozen patties, so they take them home and throw them in the freezer.
Okay.
So the Tortuga Rum Company, they make the rum right here on island. And then there is another distillery called Cayman Spirits Distillery. I'm going to pass it in a few seconds. I'm going to show you guys where the Cayman Spirits Distillery is located. And they are a very unique distillery because they're the only distillery in the entire world that age their rum 40 feet below the sea ocean, or the ocean itself. Now the reason for this process is because back in the day there was a theory that the pirates had the best rum out of anyone in the entire world.
Right.
Now the reason for this is because they used to age their rum in barrels, and the barrels used to be constantly moving on the ships, and they found that when the rum used to move inside of the barrels and swish around through the walls, they would get a lot more flavor, and it would have a big difference on the aging process. So if you guys take a look on your right hand side, this grey building is known as Cayman Spirits Distillery. They age their rum 40 feet below on the 7 Mile beach, and they need to get a boat with a crane on it to drop the crane down and pick up the barrels every couple of years. So 4 years underwater is like 10 years on land. So each batch comes out as a different color, a different potency, a different percentage. So each batch that they make, they take at least one bottle and they line it up on the wall. So if you guys ever head to the Cayman Spirits Distillery, you're gonna get to see all of these different batches, and it's very unique. So the barrels are constantly moving underwater, and it has a rum swishing against the barrel that has a lot to do with the aging process. Alright guys, next stop is going to be Camana Bay, and it was built by the Dodd family. Now I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the Dodd family. So if you guys aren't familiar with the Dodd family, they are originally from Detroit, and they moved across here to Grand Cayman 13 years ago. Now the Dodd family, they own the white styrofoam cups in the US and the red solo cups. So if you guys are familiar with white styrofoam cups, then you know the owners are the Dodd family. So they moved across here to Grand Cayman about 14 years ago, and they built this highway that we're driving on right now, and they did about 75% of major projects after Hurricane Ivan destroyed 80% of the island. So the locals are very grateful for the Dodd family. So the Dodd family built this highway. Now before this highway was built about 8 years ago, they had to use a 7-mile stretch to get to and from West Bay to Georgetown, and it used to cause a lot of traffic. Now the Dodd family also built the Kimpton Sea Fire, where you guys are going to get to see later on today. It's a beautiful hotel. Also they built Camana Bay. We're going to be driving through there shortly. And also the Dodd family are building a Four Seasons resort right next to the Kimpton Sea Fire. So the Dodd family has a lot of projects being done here in Grand Cayman. So if you guys take a look on your right hand side, this whole area was swamps and mangroves about 7 years ago. This whole area was swamps and mangroves, and the Dodd family put millions of dollars into filling up the land alone, and they built Camana Bay right on top of it. And inside of Camana Bay they have residencies, they have restaurants, shopping stores, they have the theater in Camana Bay, they also have gyms in Camana Bay. So people who live in Camana Bay literally don't even need to leave. They have everything that they need right here in this little area. Grocery, shopping, restaurants, cinema, and it's beautifully lit up at night. So if you guys ever come back to Grand Cayman, I highly recommend checking out Camana Bay. Take a walk around at night. It's beautiful. At Christmas time it is gorgeously lit up. Leave their house in the morning and just hop right on their boat or jet ski and head straight to Stingray City or whatever activity they're doing that day. On the left hand side we have a 6-screen theater. Also you can find Starbucks back there, a lot of shopping. On the right there is our watchtower. Now we do not have any mountains here on island, so you can see the whole island once you climb up on that watchtower. On the right hand side, this is where the residents live, and they come out and have coffee and breakfast before they head out to work. Also on the left there is a 24-hour fitness. And right across the road they're building a Cape Park hotel. Also the Dodd family partnered with the Foster family, and there is a Foster's grocery located right across the road over there. It was built about 8 months ago. It is fairly new, and you can find any products you can find in the US right here in any Foster's, but it's just gonna be about 3 times the price. Money laundering, you know, you heard about our currency here in Ireland, so I'm gonna talk about that a little bit. But first off, I'll tell you guys, we have 1 airport located here in Grand Cayman. We have 2 hospitals. Can anyone guess how much banks we have registered here in Grand Cayman?
20.
20? Alright, alright. Anyone else?
100.
100? Nice. So we actually have 480 banks registered here in Grand Cayman. Now the reason why we have so many banks is because our money is tax free, and anyone can open up a bank account here in Grand Cayman. You don't need to be a local. All you need is about 100 US. Contact one of our local banks here, and it is mostly done digitally. So you can access your bank account right from the US, and your money can be tax free. Now let me talk about that a little bit more. We are a tax-free island. We do not pay any taxes here whatsoever. No income tax, no property tax. So what that means is that if you make $100,000 a year, at the end of the year you're gonna get $100,000. If you put $100,000 in the bank, you're gonna get $100,000 back. No interest, no deduction. Now also, if you were to put a down payment on a land or a property here, or if you were to buy a house, you don't ever have to pay anything on that house ever again in your life once it's paid for. So no property tax, no income tax. Now you guys must be wondering, if you don't pay any taxes, Where does the government get their money for their revenue? How do they pay for free education, transport? How do you build your roads? All of that good stuff. So I'm going to explain to you guys where the government gets their money for their revenue from. Basically, the number one income on island is tourism. The number one income. Secondly, is going to be import duties, work permits, licensing and fees. So what that means is for foreigners or expats who work here on island, need to pay for a work permit every 2 years, every 6 months to 2 years, and that money goes straight to the government for the revenue. Also, since everything is about 2 to 3 times the price that it is in the US, a lot of people go to Miami for a shopping trip. But when you go to a foreign country and you do shopping, whatever you bring back, it's going to be about 35 to 40% to clear that item. So it's almost like a tax. So technically, if you're not importing anything on the island, you're not getting taxed at all. If you are importing stuff, then you are getting taxed. Also, the laws on island are very strict. So let's say the speed limit was 30 miles per hour. Now, if you were to be caught speeding in Grand Cayman, for every mile per hour over the speed limit, it's going to be 25 CI dollars. So what that means is that if the speed limit is 30 and you're going 32, that's $50. You go in 34, that's $100. So you do the math, you go 10, 20 miles per hour over the speed limit, you're gonna get a hefty fine. Now also, there is a large fine for littering here on island or for keeping your property untidy. For at least 500 CI dollars, you can get fined for littering here on island. Now, I know I told you guys earlier we're gonna be seeing the governor's mansion today. So this is a British territory and we are owned by the Queen, and she appoints a governor every 4 years to come down from England and live right here in the governor's building. And he's located right on the 7 Mile Beach. So you guys are going to get to see the 7 Mile Beach later on today. It is beautiful. So not a bad job, right? Coming all the way from England, from the cold weather, to come live right on the 7 Mile Beach. So I'm going to make you guys a deal. I'm going to be running for governor this year, Governor Gio. So if you guys vote for me, when you come back, you can come stay with me in the beautiful governor's mansion, alright? Unfortunately, the governor can only be appointed by the Queen herself, and he has to be from England. He can't even be a local Caymanian. So the Queen has the first and last say. Any questions so far, guys?
Looking at it.
Yeah, nice. So we have 4 traffic lights located on island, so we really do love our roundabouts here. So you're gonna see a lot of roundabouts today here on island. This white and blue building is where we distill or we desalinate our water. Now that water is not used for drinking, that is mainly used for washing your clothes, taking a bath, washing your dishes. So that water isn't recommended to drink, but it is a desalination process. Now the Cayman Islands is a very safe island. I can tell you from my own personal experiences. I've lived all over the Caribbean. I've lived in Trinidad in 20 years of my life. I've lived in St. Martin for 3 years. I lived in Barbados for at least 8 months. And I can tell you this is the safest island that I've ever been on. And the reason why it is so safe is because the poverty is down to basically 2%. And the crime rate is down to 3% here on island. To give you guys an example, if a local were to trouble a tourist, maybe curse at a tourist or get into altercation, he can easily get 6 months to a year imprisonment. So the tourists are very well protected here. And also to tell you guys how safe it is here on the island, it is illegal for police to carry guns here on island. So we do not have any guns here on island, 0 guns. On the right hand side by this big open lot, this is where the Dodd family is going to be building a 4 Seasons back to Grand Cayman, you can see a beautiful Four Seasons resort built right here, right in front of the 7 Mile Beach. Now the Cayman Islands was discovered by Christopher Columbus in 1503. Now when Christopher Columbus first discovered Grand Cayman, he first named it Las Tortugas. Now Las Tortugas means turtles in Spanish, and the reason why Christopher Columbus named it Las Tortugas is because when he arrived to this island with his men, they had so many turtles in the water that he thought that they were part of the reef. He thought that they were part of the rocks in the water. There were so many turtles that he literally thought that they were just rocks under the water. So however much turtles you're imagining, imagine times 10 more. And they also had a lot of alligators on land. So it was very harsh to live here when Christopher Columbus first discovered it. So, you know, the sun was extremely hot. There were no wildlife to hunt here on land or in the water, really and truly, just a couple of fish. So they were forced to eat the turtles, and it became a huge part of the Cayman culture up to today, where they still eat the turtles here on island in 2022. Now it almost became to this point that they almost became extinct. So the local people, they opened up the turtle farm in West Bay. You guys are gonna get to see a glimpse of it later on today, and they are reproducing the turtles and letting them back out into the water. So hopefully one day it can look like Las Tortugas again. Now, Christopher Columbus discovered the island and then later on passed it over to Spain, and then it was later passed over to Jamaica, and then finally to England, where it became a British territory. Its name, Cayman Islands. We had a lot of alligators here on island as well. So we are now entering into West Bay, and I am going to be showing you guys the old homestead. This is the 2-bedroom house I was talking about earlier that survived Hurricane Ivan, and I'm going to show you guys how unique this place is. So if you take a look on your left by this little white, green and pink house, this is the old homestead, and this house survived Hurricane Ivan in 2004 that destroyed 80% of the island, including the Hilton and Hyatt Hotel. Now just take a look around, guys. All of these houses around were flat to the ground, and this little house here that was made out of mahogany wood stays like how it is today, and people still live in this house up to today. So this is what motivated a lot of people to build their homes out of mahogany wood, just like the Thompson Mansion I showed you guys earlier on today. Now we do have mahogany trees here on the island. Sorry guys. We do have mahogany trees located here on island, but they are protected and they are illegal to cut down.
I notice you don't see any kind of
motorbikes, bikes.
No. On other islands, you see different stages of construction of these homes.
Right.
Here they don't allow that. I don't see any different stages of construction.
Right. No, you need to follow the protocols. But there are a couple of homes coming up that actually are built on the sand itself, and it seems like they're kind of tilting in my eyes. So I'm gonna show you that in just a sec. Now, Grand Cayman is a Christian island, but we are a very diverse island here in Grand Cayman. So we have a lot of expats or foreigners who live here on island, like myself. There is a house right here built right on the 7 Mile Beach. Now, I couldn't tell you the value of this house, but I can tell you it's up there in the high ranks. Now, so there is a lot of diversity here on island. So there's a lot of expats or foreigners like myself who live here on island, and they actually populate more than the locals. So we have about 60% expats living here on island and about 40% locals. Now later on today, you guys aren't gonna see much locals around, you know. Like I said, these guys are very well taken care of. So you're gonna see a lot of expats working. So like in Tortuga, they had a lot of people from the Philippines, from Jamaica, from all around the world, and we accept all religions, all races on island. It is a very welcoming island, and the government built a church for every religion based here on island. Now it is a very strict Christian island, So it is actually illegal to play loud music and dance on a Sunday here in Grand Cayman. So on a Saturday night, if you're at the club at 12 o'clock, you don't gotta go home, but you have to leave. Now straight ahead is one of our public schools. Now for some reason, I couldn't tell you, I'm gonna need to do a little bit more research on it. But for some reason, the expats and the locals, they are separated in schooling. And I think mainly because the reason is because the locals get free everything, free education, free transport, free school supplies, and expats or foreigners who work here on work permits, they go into private schools and they need to pay for all of those. Welcome to hell, guys. This is the Devil's Hangout, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly why we're here. So this is the main reason why we're here, is because of these rock formations. I'm gonna walk you guys down and explain to you exactly what that is, and then you can walk inside of that building, and you can also take your passport and have it stamped as proof that you've been to hell and back, or you can send a postcard home saying that, you know, you've been to hell and back. Only place in the world that you can find them on land. Other than that, you're going to have to dive thousands of feet below the ocean to find these rocks. And these rocks actually are living and they need water to survive. So if you take a look over here, guys, there are some white rocks over here. They have no access to water and they're actually dead. And they're actually growing a couple of inches every couple of thousands of years. So this is proof that the island was once underwater. All sorts of stuff, but they are illegal to take from right here in Grand Cayman, and they spread about 2 miles down. So the only way to get these rocks is to dive thousands of feet below the ocean. Now, how it got its name Hell is because in the early 1700s there was a British commissioner that was coming down from England, and he was right here on island. And they weren't much stuff to hunt here on island, so he saw a bird out into the yonder, and he pulled out his rifle and took a shot, and he said, "Oh, hell," and the name stuck. Now, there is a local family that owns this red house right here. His name is Ivan, and he took it to the next level. He paints himself with the devil himself. So it seems like you're going to get to meet this character today in the conversation right there. That's how it became a right here in Hell and Grand Cayman, and thousands of people in the ocean. So head inside, guys. You are gonna get to send a postcard home or get your. That were traveling from England right here to Grand Cayman, and we have a large reef wall that surrounds the island 360. So it's like a natural protection. Back in those times when pirates used to try raid on the island. For those people who do not know the local waters, they constantly used to crash into the sea reef. So what happened was there were 10 ships that were coming from England, and they had the royal family on board. And when they arrived to Grand Cayman, they crashed right into the seawall, and the local Caymanians went out on their canoes, their boats, whatever they had back in that time, and they went and saved the royal family from drowning. And from that day on, the Queen declared the island to be tax-free, and we do not have to participate in wars. So that's why we do not have any weapons here on island, mainly. Alright guys, so that was Hell. very unique place. I'm gonna be taking you guys to Dolphin Discovery now.